Like, I share some of the critiques of the ways in which free trade had a hugely negative effect on whole parts of the country. And for decades, we heard Democrats and Republicans talking about retraining and all kinds of things that just didn't come to be. And you end up with whole parts of the country that are in a kind of permanent state of recession, not just because we pursued free trade policies, but because we pursued trade policies in such a way that all the benefits accrued to a small subset of people. What I see, especially as the Trump administration is pursuing incredibly regressive tax policy changes. They want to shift the tax burden down by cutting taxes even further on the wealthiest people in this country, is an effort to define the enemy in trade as other countries whose real sin, right, is taking advantage of a system we built. When in reality, what the goal is having a society in which people can get good jobs and produce a good life and provide for their families, and not just in urban centers that are benefiting from global trade, but throughout the country. Ultimately, none of this is going to result in that change. The automation, the rises in productivity, all of that has happened alongside of all these trade policies. And even if we pursue all of this industrialization, even if we pursue everything that you want, you're still going to result in an unequal society in which the actual problem is not an agreement with Canada or an agreement with the European Union. The problem is automation, technology, rising productivity, and a system that allows far too much of those gains to accrue to the top 1 or 0.1%.
Well, respectfully, it seems like something of a non sequitur. I mean, I think this question of the tactics of how we implement the sort of strategy we were talking about is kind of a very fair criticism. And as I said, something that I'm obviously working a lot on right now. To then sort of switch and say like, oh, but this doesn't solve the sort of like fundamental inequities of capitalism. It's like, yes, like so stipulated, this is obviously not the single silver bullet that solves all of America's problems. I think there's an enormous number of other things we need to do as well on all sorts of fronts.